Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sonnet, the owner and creator behind Sonnet's Garden Blooms, and in today's video you are getting a Thrift 2 treasure. So I went back into my inventory, pulled out 5 items, and I flipped them in today's video. I hope you guys enjoy and are inspired to try some of your own thrift flips. For project 1, I actually had a bunch of this milk glass in my stash for quite some time. I thrifted it at the Goodwill bins and there were all different sized plates. This was the largest by far, with that being the oval shape, and then I had a bunch of dinner plates, and then I also had a bunch of like small appetizer plates. I thought I would take this one and actually transform it into a piece of home decor. For starters, what I'm doing is taking this scrap piece of transfer and I am going to lay that down and then build around it. I used this transfer a while ago and I just had pieces in there. I had some big, larger pieces as well, but I wanted to use up first and foremost the little scraps. So I started off by putting the font down. I thought it would be perfect to have some writing on here, and then I wanted to start building with some of the florals or botanicals. If you haven't used an IOD transfer before, it is so easy, you guys. All you have to do is peel off that backing and then take your transfer stick that comes with it, lay the piece down, and then just start rubbing all over. And whatever you're rubbing it onto, the transfer will stick. You just want to make sure that your item is clean, and if it has been recently painted or sealed, that it is dry before you lay your transfer down. And I just start rubbing and the transfer comes right off. I then take that backing and rub all over that piece to really burnish it into the item. And then from here, I'm going to start taking pieces of the floral and then adding to this. After I laid that one piece of floral down, I realized that it needed something much more substantial, so I decided to cut off these 2 little flowers. And I'm going to cut them apart, cut off some of the stems, and then strategically place them around that other floral piece to really build upon it. And that's the great thing about the IOD transfers, is that you can cut them apart, place them about however you want it. You can combine multiple transfers all in one project. So it is not like you have to lay that entire piece and just as is. That is the great thing about transfers. Because we are applying the transfers to this plate, I am going to seal it, but I want to take note that this is not permanently on here, so you would not want to put this in your dishwasher or soak it in your sink. This would be more of like a hand wipe only. And if at any point you decide that you no longer want this on here, you can take your heat gun and heat up the transfer and scrape it off. So keep that in mind. It is not a permanent fixture. The last thing I'm going to do is use Big Top from DIY, and I am going to apply 1 even coat of Big Top to this just to give it a bit more added protection. That way, if something does spill on it, or if you do want to hand wash it, like wipe it with a rag, you're able to do that and it is completely protected. DIY, the Big Top and all the DIY products have very limited ingredients. It's all natural, so this is the perfect product to use for this project. For project 2, what you're going to need for this project is these wicker placemats, and they actually go underneath your place setting. They are really thick and they work perfectly for this project. You're going to need some twine, and you'll also need a drill bit that the twine that will drill a hole big enough for the twine to fit through. I actually thrifted these, and I had these in my booth a while ago where I've done this, and they sold immediately. And so when I found 6 of these, I knew right away what I wanted to do with them again. This is perfect to have different heights in your booth. I have an arbor in my booth, and I hang these off the arbor, and then what I do is it's perfect. It's like a little hanging shelf, you guys. So I take my drill bit and I drill 4 holes, and I strategically place them so that when I put the twine through it, that it hangs evenly. So you try to find the 4 corners of this plate. Once you have all 4 corners drilled, then you're going to take your twine and you're going to start placing the twine through from the front to the back side. And then you're going to do a double knot. So I just double knot it, and then make sure that that does not pop through the hole. But the twine that I'm using is fairly thick, so it shouldn't pop through. Even with something that is a little bit heavier on here, it should still be just fine by placing that double knot. You want your strand or your twine to be a fairly long length, and what you're going to do then is, after you get all 4 sides in, then you're going to lay this flat, bring all 4 pieces of twine together, and then figure out, like, hang it, like actually hold it. And then once you hold it, you're going to see what is level, and then you'll tie a knot on the very top. And then once I tie that knot, and I just cut off make the ends all on the top even, and that is how simple this project is. For project 3, I actually thrifted a couple of these bean pots a while ago. A few of them I've already upcycled, and this one has been sitting in my inventory, and I thought today was the perfect day to transform it. And first of all, I grabbed brocante, and I'm talking to you guys about how I'm trying to use up all of my stash of products, and this is what I have left of my brocante transfer. And initially I was thinking, I'm going to put that sheep on there. Then I saw these and I thought, oh my gosh, they match it. I bet you that would look really good. It looked like it had some white, so I thought it would pop off of it and kind of blend some of it. And what I did is I cut a chunk, the one that I wanted. So I cut that chunk of transfer out, and I peeled back the transfer just a little bit because I wanted to see how it would look over the pot, and it would blend too much. So I put that back, and now I'm back to the sheep. And you guys, he is going to be a perfect fit, and I should have just gone with my gut instinct right away and applied the sheep. I love how just applying a simple transfer can change the look and feel of whatever piece you're applying it to. Now, keep in mind, this bean pot, I believe its true intentions probably were for an oven. So once you apply a transfer to it, you're not going to be able to use it for its true purposes. It will be for decor purposes only. And again, it's so easy to apply these IOD transfers. You pull off that backing, lay down your transfer, and then start using your transfer stick to apply it. Again, you want your piece to be very clean. So before I did this, I did bring it in the kitchen and I washed it very thoroughly and dried it. And then if you are applying it to anything that you've recently painted or sealed, you'll want your piece to be dry as well. I just start on one side and I work my way over, and then once I get it on, I just take that backing and really I rub it all over the transfer, and that is called burnishing the item, and it really burnishes your transfer in your piece. The last thing I'm doing is applying a coat of Big Top to the entire piece. I'm doing this just to give it a bit more protection. If you are going to place it somewhere where it's not going to get dirty or need any hand washing, then yes, you do not need to do this last step. And keep in mind, if at any point you want to remove this transfer, just take your heat gun to the transfer and it will come right off. So this is not a permanent fixture. And I'm applying an even coat of Big Top to the entire piece, including the top, because I want the same finish over the entire piece. For project 4, if you guys have been following me for a while, you'll know how much I love upcycling rolling pins. And in today's project, we are using Little Black Dress from DIY Paint. And I should mention that all the products that I am using in today's video, you can order on my website at www.sonnetsgardenblooms.com. Now, for starters, what I'm doing is applying just one even coat to both of the handles, because the nice thing about DIY paint, it can be reactivated with water until you seal it, so it's very easy to do some wet distressing. I'm going to let these dry, and then we're going to come back and wet distress these handles to make them look all aged and old. For the base, I am using Cashmere from Fusion Mineral Paint. And you guys, this color is so warm. I absolutely love it. I'm applying one even coat of Cashmere to the entire base. I'm going to let it dry very thoroughly. And then if you watched my last video, which was my Friday video, I had a transfer that I've been trying to use up, and this transfer is no longer available. And actually it was available, or it was offered before I started offering IOD. I ended up getting it at the IOD conference, and it's called Ephemeral like Words or something like that. And it is jam-packed full of all these different words and images. It is beautiful, but I definitely want to get it used up. So we're going to use it on this. Now that it's all dry, I'm taking a damp rag and I am going to wet distress those handles and just randomly rub here and there. And I want that handle to look like somebody's held onto it and rolled out 100 or 1,000 pie crusts or cookies or what have you, whatever they decide to roll out with this rolling pin. But I want it to look like it's been used and abused. So I do that to both sides. I'm going to let that dry, and then we'll seal it with Big Top. Here's that transfer that I was talking about, and you can see I have cut it apart. In this one, it used to come on a roll versus how they come now in packs. And the rolls are a lot harder to use. So I am so glad that the IOD sisters made the decision to go with packs versus being in a tube or a roll. And I'm just going to do what I always do with the transfers. I am going to line it up, lay the transfer down, and then use my transfer stick and start rubbing the transfer on. And I always start on one side and I work my way over with my transfer stick. And then once it's on, I am going to take that backing and really burnish that transfer in place. And after I get this first chunk on, I realize that I want another chunk on as well. So I cut off another chunk and then I apply it to the other side. And I just love how this looks with all this wording on this old rolling pin. Because the handles are all distressed, I thought I would take a piece of sandpaper and just slightly distress the pin itself. And I'm just going to randomly go here and there just to expose some of the raw wood and make it look like, again, that it's old and aged. Now that I've distressed the heck out of it, it's time to seal it. I do want to seal the handles because anytime you use DIY paint, you do need to seal it or it can be reactivated. With the Fusion mineral paint, you do not need to seal that because it does have a built-in top coat. But because I applied that transfer over it, I just want to give it a little bit of an added protection. So I'm applying one even coat of Big Top over the entire piece. And then this project will be complete. For my fifth and final project, we are going to transform this little wood box. You guys, this is going to sound really bad, but I have no idea when I thrifted it, where I thrifted it, or how much I paid for it. And it needs to get out of my stash immediately. What I'm using is Fusion's mineral paint in the color Cashmere, and I am applying 2 even coats of cashmere to the entire piece. I'm going to let it dry very thoroughly in between coats, and then once that's done, we can go on to the next step. Now that it's painted and completely dry, it's time for that next step. I am using IOD's Brocante transfer, and I have been trying to use up all the scrap pieces, and then it will be completely empty. One of the pieces left in the transfer is the one that I chose, and I think it's going to be the perfect addition to this piece. It's going to fit on the front perfectly. And what I do is I peel off that back and I'm lining it up. I want to make sure that I get it right in the center. I was having a little bit of a problem because I had some excess of the backing. So I just cut that off, and it really then helps me line it up a little bit better. Once I do that, I lay it down, I rub on it, and then I take my transfer stick and I just start applying the transfer. And I just start on one side and work my way over. And once I get it off the backing, the transfer is one piece, and you can see that there's a top on here, so the top opens. I am going to take my X-Acto knife and I am just going to slice through that line, and then the transfer is cut in half, and it works perfectly. Next, I am going to distress the heck out of it. I just take a piece of sandpaper and just randomly rub here and there just to expose a little bit of that wood box. I love it when things look aged and distressed, and I know some of you do not like that look, and that's perfectly fine, but I put everything into my booths, and unfortunately customers are a bit rough with items, and this, if they're a little rough with it and nick it or do something to it, because it's already distressed, it blends a lot better and it's not as noticeable. So once I get it all distressed, I am going to seal the transfer, and because I'm sealing the transfer, I am going to seal the entire piece, and I am using Big Top and applying one even coat. If I would have just painted it and distressed it, there would have been no need to seal because Fusion mineral paint has a built-in top coat. And then you guys, this project is complete, and I absolutely love how this turned out. what did you guys all think? I hope you enjoyed today's video and are encouraged and inspired to try some of your own thrift flips. It is so fun taking an item that you're ready to donate, or you just feel like you don't want any longer, or don't know what to do with, and you just completely transform it and give it new life. And that's what I love to do. It's one of my favorite things of all time, rescuing items and then giving them new life. So Friday's video, you guys, IOD, it's the IOD release, and I am going to be partaking in a actual playlist. So on Friday, the video will be released at 11:30 Central Standard Time. And in the video, there will be a link in the description for the playlist. So definitely check that out, guys. I will also be going live that day at 11:30. The IOD sisters will as well, so you can jump on either or. I will be showcasing the new products. The products will go live on my website at 11:30, so definitely get your shopping shoes ready. You are gonna love it. And then a couple other things that are happening this week. My very first podcast will be coming out on March 14th, and it will be on all the podcast platforms, plus over here on YouTube. So definitely watch for that. So that will be on Thursday, March 14th. The IOD video will be coming out on the 15th. Oh my gosh, so much. And then the other thing too is my membership group will be closing on the 15th of this week. So if it's something you are interested in, definitely reach out. I can give you more information. We are just a really tight-knit group of gals that meet weekly, and we support and encourage each other in our small business journey and really tackle different topics each and every single week. So if that is something you're interested in, definitely reach out, info@sonnetsgardenblooms.com. And then the last thing, if you've been seeing my posts, I am officially doing a launch party on April 1st for the new Cottage colors. And I will be going live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And at the end of the live, I will be giving away some Cottage colors. So you definitely have to stick along the whole live. And I don't know how long it's going to last, depending on the projects we get through. So it could be like an hour to 2 hours. I'm not really sure. But I'm excited to show you guys those. Those will be actually released on March 28th. And Debbie Beard pulled together a bunch of different creators, and there will be a playlist for you guys to watch on the new Cottage colors as well. I've already started mine. I cannot wait to show you what I came up with. I think you guys are going to be pleasantly happy. So, but anyways, we will see you guys at my podcast on Thursday, or during my live video on Friday. All right, have a great week, and we'll see you then. Bye.